He just wants to hug you. He just wants to hug you.
Insecurity. Why are you touching?
Don't fucking touch
Why are you touching him? Why are you insulting him? You're allowed to touch him, but we're not allowed to touch you.
If he would have touched you like that, you'd bug the fuck out.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh.
This is life. This is life.
He could propose to you.
It's awesome.
Be better.
Trying to intimidate the police is making them want to intimidate you more, okay? This is...
You were making it bad out there small pieces.
Let's just disperse. Let's forget about this. Let's go home. Okay, we'll be back here next month doing the same thing. I'll be back here next month getting arrested again.
Successful civil disobedience.
Successful civil disobedience. Let's go home. Rick Bull's a friend of mine from New Hampshire. He's facing 81 years worth of drug charges for selling marijuana and illegal, at the time, hallucinogen chemical. He went to trial with a jury nullification defense that exposed the informants that ratted him out, and it was the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force let a heroin dealer go to catch a weed dealer. Kind of weird, don't you think? What in the world? Well, a suspicion that might have been politically motivated. And I think it's a terrible shame. And Rich was ultimately convicted of those charges, and he's been sentenced to a year in jail in the Cheshire County House of Corrections in New Hampshire. And he has a lot of grounds for his appeal. For one, they accused him of selling LSD, and it was 2CI, which at the time was legal, and the state's own lab technician said that. Also, New Hampshire has jury nullification coded into its laws as an affirmative defense. And the judge did not read the instructions correctly to the jury. And there's an appeal fundraiser for him. And freerichbull.gofundme.com, I believe it is. There is a appeal fundraiser that will not only hopefully get Rich out of jail, but will set a precedent that will help defend all of you as well. Rich is not fighting for himself at this point. He's going to end up serving his time in jail before his appeal goes through. He's fighting this for all of you so that these things are corrected in the courts before you wind up in them. So please support Rich Bull. Free Rich Bull! Free Rich Bull! Yeah, baby.
We love you, Rich Bull. I'm excited.
Right, next month. Where are they going? Here it's pretty useless, I think, because nobody else is using it. What channel do you monitor?
I monitor my channels that I pull out.
Do you have SEC license? Yeah. Okay, no, we just, in New Hampshire, we frequently use Marine 72 or Marine 78. I keep 72 monitored in my vehicle. I have a 45 watt VHF battery and a 40 watt VHF GMR.
I have a 65 and 70. So I can operate easily anywhere I want. Yeah, you can see it pretty out.
But I mean, I imagine that if there are your own frequencies, that you probably are not communicating with many people.
Yeah, we're going to say
Yeah, but if the majority of people are disagreeing with it,
look at this police presence. Look at this. There must be 100 police here. And I'm wondering if there's any other crimes going on in the city right now that these police can be taken care of. Because they're out here trying to stop people from their First Amendment right. And there could be rapes going on, there could be murders in the city. Other crimes that could be stopped. But we are here at Liberty Square with the Liberty Bell for freedom. I just hope nobody gets murdered or raped today while this is going on, because most of the police are here. It's a very impressive police presence. Park Rangers, DHS, Homeland Security, you name it. And this is what we're doing here, folks. We're in our freedom cage. This is the freedom cage. This is what freedom looks like in America, 2013.
I was smoking, I don't know if y'all saw what happened. I was smoking tobacco and handing old cigarettes. Officer approaches me in the rear. Go home now. Yo, oh my God. I love homosexuality. Yeah, besides, I love having sex with Asians.
Oh, that's a good shot, Ed. Look at that. Oh, Ed. Ed, that rules. That's amazing.
Hold on 1 second.
That's a shot, man.
Hold on. Go back.
Hey, put your water down.
And if this protest...
Hey, can I get in there?
That's the shit.
Yeah.
That's the shit, Eddie. Yeah.
I want one
Oh,
picture.
that's awesome. That is awesome. That's a great shot, man. That is a great shot. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, baby. There we go. Woo.
This is the Facebook picture. I can get one.
I lost it!
That shit's great. Yeah. Yeah, man. Do it. There you go. There you go.
Oh, this man right here!
I don't know how to do it.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's a good one. That's good. Nice. I got you. It's fine. Like a high, 28 days. You can't get out.
You've seen it here first. You've seen it here first.
For the book Hempstone Heritage, a book about the history of the hemp industry in Pennsylvania, and I'm also in charge of the Facebook page, Pennsylvania Hempland Security.
Right on.
Yeah.
And what happened here today, guys?
Well, for the 6th time, we had our peaceful protests, and this was like the 2nd time that it was broken up by law enforcement, and they made a peaceful protest not very peaceful, and
Now keep in mind, we did sort of expect this. I mean, it's not like it hit us out of the blue.
we were breaking the law,
And
some of us.
you know, I mean, the first few times, you get the vibe how things are going to go down. And the first 3 times I was here, I missed the first one, but I was here for Prohibition 2, 3, 4, and 5. But the first 3 that I attended were great. And the one on 420 on April 20th, that one was just fantastic.
700 people.
700 people, perfect vibe. Everybody had a good time. Peaceful. It was laid back, friendly, exciting. It was just a great time to be here. And now, when we came back last month on May 18th, we came in, we saw this enclosed area. We saw the police. Exactly.
They gave us some more breathing room this time.
And we saw the cops gathered, and we knew we were in for it, you know. So only 3 categories of people went in: the stupid, the crazy, and the brave. I don't know which category I fall into, but I went into the cage.
Some combination, perhaps.
That's right. So, you know, but we expected it. But we think it's going to do good. I think so. There's a room. Now, my opinion, when I have, theories of activism, is people say you got to put on a suit and tie, you got to go lobby. Other people say, no, we got to go to take the streets in civil disobedience. And whatever. My opinion, you got to do all of it. We're talking about a full spectrum campaign. You put on your suit and tie and you go lobby. And then the next day you take to the streets. The next day you put your suit and tie on, go lobby again. Then you take to the streets again. You engage in civil disobedience when you have to. You write your letters to the editors, to the
Politicians have to know that we're the people. They work for us, and they have to know what we want. We have to let them know as many ways as possible that 82% of Pennsylvanians think that people with critical illnesses should get marijuana from a doctor, and people just want it legalized now. Like it's.
Well, when you've got a situation where you've got a number like 82%, which is we don't have a whole lot of people agreeing on a whole lot of issues at a rate of 82%, but we still have government agents assaulting, kidnapping, extorting people. Does that tell you that there's something wrong with the state itself? That that we're at 82% of people want something, the state still can't figure that out and still uses violence. Is there any hope for the state?
All the politicians think that those 82% aren't in their areas, like those aren't their voters. We have to let them know. We have to get our voices heard. We have to call the people we have to bill. Senate Bill 528 by Dallin Leach, State Senator, to regulate marijuana in Pennsylvania and make it so kids can't get it. You have to go to a school, you have to buy it. It's harder for kids to get alcohol than it is for them.
Just give 1 minute.
It's harder for them to get alcohol than it is for them to get marijuana. I noticed that when I was a teenager back in the 90s.
My ride's leaving, so I got to go. But
Okay.
we're going to end prohibition. Everybody has a lot of power. Don't underestimate the power that each one of us as individuals have within us. We have the power to achieve greatness, each and every one of us, especially when we band together, and that's what we're going to do. We will end prohibition in Pennsylvania and hasten the day when the national prohibition of cannabis and hemp falls. Right, Joe?
That's true, man.
You're right.
Oh, man, thank you very much, man. Is there any hope for the state?
I think from what I've heard, they need doctors. Talk to your doctors. Get them. If you're a doctor, there's no way you're against marijuana because the science does not show it to be any worse and actually better for people.
I had a funny thing. I was in New York City yesterday, and we did a little Liberty trivia with the people who were walking past. And not a whole lot of them were from New York. We're actually in Times Square talking to a lot of tourists. Several people told me, I asked the question, how many people have died from marijuana use? And a lot of people said crazy numbers in the millions or even billions. What do you say to those folks?
The way to die because of marijuana use is getting shot by a DEA agent. Like, that's how you die from marijuana use.
The government is the most dangerous part of marijuana.
You get tackled by a cop. There was a guy who was tackled. His arm was in a lot of pain, and he was back there just getting photographed by the cops sitting on the ground. And it's just over a plant.
Seems kind of silly.
But yeah, all right, man. Check out 528 Internet. All right, you guys have a good one.
Thanks a lot, man.
Awesome.
Right on, man.
What's your name?
My name is Reed Wirtz,
Hi, Reed.
and I'm a 34-year veteran, non-combatant veteran of the war on drugs. I enjoy smoking marijuana. I think marijuana should be legal for recreational and medicinal use. It's very clear it's been used for medicinal use for centuries, even thousands of years. The federal government has been distributing medical marijuana since 1978, continuously, without interruption, yet many law enforcement officers are not aware of this fact. The federal government has been distributing medical marijuana.
I've smoked it.
Therefore, the Schedule I classification of marijuana is a fraud. It's fraudulent because it does have medical value. It does not have a high potential for abuse, and it can be safely administered by a patient or a doctor. If these things were true, they wouldn't be sending cans of 300 joints apiece to these 4 medical marijuana patients the federal government is still sending them to every month. And if you can't smoke 300 joints without still having a good bill of health, you know, where's the information that says marijuana is harmful? It's not. It's safer than alcohol. It should be legal. It's a violation of civil rights to have it illegal and to persecute anybody that believes that it's safer than alcohol and to persecute people for smoking it. It's ridiculous. Something I noticed you're wearing a DARE shirt. If I can read that.
Yeah, I'm wearing a DARE shirt here. It says,
I turned in my parents, and all I got was this lousy T-shirt from DARE. Well, that actually happened to a friend of mine. There's a woman, a friend of mine, and she's the founder of the state of Delaware NORML. It's a newly formed chapter back in February. That happened to her. Her young child was in elementary school. I think she said she was about 8 years old. And her daughter said, oh yeah, I smell that stuff at home. My mommy smokes that stuff. They came to the house, they took her stuff, and she was on probation for a long time. Couldn't have any weed in her house for 8 years, she said. 8 years she couldn't have any weed in her house because they would come and she was on probation. And it's just ridiculous. It's ethnic discrimination. People kind of are skeptical when I mention that ethnic intimidation. It's like, what ethnicity is that? Well, people that understand full well that it's safer than alcohol. And, you know, we come, as you saw today, we come from many walks of life, many ages, many backgrounds, disciplines, of various heritage, all over the place. But we're united under this one principle that marijuana should be legal. There should be no penalties for the consumption or the distribution of marijuana. It should be regulated like alcohol to keep the hard drugs out of the hands of our children, to separate the market from the drugs you buy on the street with the drugs that you can buy, alcohol and marijuana, if you can buy them in the state store or from your local retailer of wine and spirits. We got to make this legal. These guys are out here doing their jobs because they're paid to and they have to, but You know, we've been talking with some of the officers and some of the top guys. They know we're trying to make a political statement. We want to change the law. We're participating in civil disobedience because we want to change the law so that we and others that come after us don't have to suffer this ethnic discrimination. Our country has spent more than $1 trillion in the U.S. and around the world fighting the drug war. And it's ridiculous that somebody can sit behind a computer screen in Italy smoking tobacco and drinking coffee and drinking a drink on their lunch break. Meanwhile, they're watching radar of people smuggling hash from Morocco over to Spain. You know, they're busting marijuana while they're consuming nicotine, caffeine, and alcohol, all of which are more harmful than marijuana. It's ridiculous. Legalize marijuana. Peace.
Do you know Diane Fornbacher?
I do.
Something happened to her with her kids because
right.
she mentioned hemp.
Right.
The word hemp.
She was participating in a hemp rally. It was purely a hemp rally.
Yeah.
And one of her children was at the booth with her. And a teacher came by, one of her children's teacher, and recognized the child. So when the child came to school, I don't know whether it was the following day or some days later, the teacher asked the child, "Hey, wasn't your mom there? Isn't that about marijuana?" And he says, "No, it's hemp." She's like, "Isn't that the same thing?" "Well, it's hemp. It's a plant." So this teacher reported it. She reported as somebody furnishing marijuana or selling marijuana. So they came to the house and the state child protective services harassed her. This is the information I got. If I'm wrong at one point, please excuse me.
That's what I heard.
But that's the gist of it.
Yeah.
Is she's under scrutiny now, some level of it,
yeah.
because a teacher did not know that hemp is perfectly legal. Yeah. These shoes I'm wearing today, these are Adidas hemp. They're made of hemp fabric. Hemp fabric has been used in here since the beginning of colonial times in America. All the sails that came over, that ships came over with the explorers and the settlers, the colonists, they all had hemp sailcloth for sails.
That's right.
It was a major crop. The British Crown required people to grow hemp in order that they could have patents on land here in the first colonists. I have ancestors going back in New England, in New Jersey, and Delaware, going back almost 400 years, 375 years, okay? Some of my ancestors grew hemp. Okay, we know they used it for medicine too, because it was part of the U.S. pharmacopoeia up until the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937, which was actually deemed unconstitutional in 1945. So basically what you have is people from industry getting together with some people that view marijuana consumption as a moral turpitude, and these people have not necessarily conspired together, but they're all in it for the money. You know, besides the moral issue, there's a lot of industries. Paints and varnishes used to be made with hemp seed oil. Now it's synthetic oil. Cordage and rope and twine used to be made with hemp fiber because it was very, very strong. Now it's made out of nylon. A lot of hemp seed is a valuable food product. It gives you those omega fatty acids that are helpful. Cannabis oil has been shown to cure cancer. Our government, back in October and as recently as March, has issued patents for using marijuana extracts, not derivatives, not synthetic derivatives, but extracts from marijuana plants as medicine for the treatment of cancer. Our government has issued these patents. One of them's co-applicants, GW Pharmaceuticals in London, England, and the co-applicant, Japanese pharmaceutical firm, were issued a patent by the U.S. government to use cannabis extracts from plants to treat breast cancer, prostate cancer, and other cancers. Our government has issued the patent. How can they not say that marijuana doesn't have medical value? How come they keep on maintaining that the Controlled Substance Act says it has medical value?
You know, I used to take Roxycodone and Oxycontin for my back.
I understand.
90 milligrams every 3 hours of Roxycodone. Now I'm using cannabis every day, every 3 hours.
It's safe.
I don't use any pills anymore. I went from, I added up all the pills I took in 10 years. There's over 200,000 painkillers I took. Wow. They're getting $1,500 a month. It's insane. These doctors just, oh yeah, take it. Double, if you don't feel good, double it, or take this, try that. I had doctors tell me there's no hope for me. I'd be on antidepressants the rest of my life. I'd be on opiates the rest of my life. Doctor tells me there's no hope. Right. Maybe cry. I was actually crying in his room. Wow, there's no hope. Doctors told me. But you know what? That was a year ago, and now I have hope again. I have total hope because I'm not using pills anymore. I'm not a slave to these fucking doctors anymore. Right. It's great. It's a great feeling.
Yep. Your liver's doing a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your body's healthier. It
Yeah.
helps with your metabolism.
Yeah.
It helps with diabetes. It helps with all kinds of things. It's a miracle.
I'm
plant.
dealing with a lot of pain, and I'm not taking any more opiates. So if I can get off opiates, believe me, anybody can.
Right, and it has medical value, and you can safely administer it, and there's not
Yes.
a high potential abuse.
Yes.
So the Controlled Substance Act classification as a Schedule I drug is fraudulent.
It's just
we need that
ridiculous.
to bring that to the government and let them know we don't want them enforcing a fraudulent law. We demand civil rights, and we want them now.
Nice. Thanks, bro.
All right.
Awesome.
My name's Reed, rhymes
Reed.
with weed. In Facebook, you can find me as Reed in PA.
Okay, I'm Lefty Grimes. I'll see you on there.
My icon is the state of Arizona tax stamp. Back
Okay.
in the from the late 70s up to 1998, there was a in many states had a luxury tax law patterned after the alcohol and the tobacco tax laws. And in 1996 and 97, I was granted a cannabis and controlled substance dealer's license by the state of Arizona Department of Revenue. You pay your $200 application fee, you fill out a form, you buy tax stamps, you're to affix the tax stamps on your product, and as long as you have enough tax stamps to cover your packaged product and the product you're manufacturing, it's legal under state law. The state police will protect you, and they will give you back your stash. The city police, though, they're still making a $1,024 fine off of everybody they get on because they prosecute you as a felony, and they expect you to plea bargain it down to a misdemeanor and pay the $1,000 fine. So they're making money. They will not acknowledge that it's a state law.
What city?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix. Okay.
Now, I lived out there in the all through the 80s up to the late 90s. Now out there, now they have a medical law, and they're working on a recreational law. But they've had a number of votes. Some of them have been vetoed by the government or overturned by the next legislator. But they've been making progress. We're trying to make progress here in Pennsylvania. It's difficult here because of our legislative system. We have what they call a limited referendum system, which means you can't just connect signatures to get a referendum on the ballot. You have to convince your legislators all to vote on it, and if they all approve it, then the public can vote on it, which makes it extremely difficult to change any laws. But we're working on it. We got to get through to them, and whether they're trying to privatize alcohol also. We're hoping either way, if they keep it state operated, that's an easy way to convert marijuana. You just add it into there, and they already got the whole mechanism for it. If they privatize alcohol, well, they got to make a plan for that too. But we're trying to bring that discussion to them too. If they're talking about it, they need to acknowledge marijuana is going to be in there, and it's going to be retailed in that fashion.
Nice.
All right, nice meeting you.
Thanks, Reed.